We are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not. I would like to make a deal, the easy way. But if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way.
Andy, how you doing, bro?
I'm here. I'm not firing on all cylinders today, but I am here. Um,
What
I only
happened?
I only I only drink to the point of a hangover like once or twice a year, and last night was one of those times. My wife had her Christmas party. It was at a casino. Christmas party in January. I don't know why her company always does that. Her boss won $27,000 on a slot machine. And
That's pretty impressive.
yeah, it was awesome. And then he proceeded to buy everybody a lot of drinks, and he insisted that they were doubles. And I'm hurting. I'm here though. I'm here, and it kind of fits because I feel like I'm in an angry mood all week. I don't know about you, but like I'll say there's a lot going on, and we're going to talk about it. But I hit a point this week where, and it was for a moment, but for a moment, I hit a point where I was like, I don't want to live here anymore. I don't want to be in this country. Like, I want to get out of here. I got over that real quick. And most of the time, like when somebody gets elected president and one side will be like, I'm leaving, get out of here. You're not leaving. But I will say, at one point this week, I almost gave up on America. I was just kind of like, I want out. I want to go somewhere better than this. I'm better. I'm better
Well,
now. I've gotten over that, but I definitely felt that for a
I,
little bit.
I've been feeling that way for a long time.
Yeah,
And what ICE is doing in these cities right now is insane.
dude.
And we look like a third world country right now.
I I have so much to say on it. First of all, you were saying, and I kind of tuned out the last day and a half. You were saying to me before we started about protests that are going on right now. What's going on and where?
So Minnesota has a bunch of protests going on, and then I saw California has protests. I think it's all over. I even saw something where Dallas is having protests.
I saw
And
on Facebook.
it's all anti-ICE protests.
Yeah,
So
on Facebook I saw that here in Tulsa, um, our Senator Mark Wayne Mullen has a Tulsa office, and there was about 100 to 150 people outside his office last night protesting ICE. So I think every city's got little ones going on. Has Minneapolis, and I haven't seen much out of Minneapolis, has it gotten to the point of burning down the buildings yet, or are they remaining somewhat calm?
in where?
Minneapolis.
Oh, in Minneapolis? No, no, they're all peaceful.
Okay,
But
good
they're
deal.
getting like there was a certain video I saw. I tried to pull up, but my video recording was whatever. Anyway, um, where the ICE is actually just pulling up to protesters and grabbing people and arresting them and throwing them in their car.
I I was talking to my boss the other day because on Friday there was a protest like outside of the ICE facility in Minneapolis, and like
Hmm.
there was one point where like the ICE agents just started charging everybody and tackling people and all that. And my boss was like, "Why would they do that?" And I'll tell you, like, I know exactly why they would do that because people like me that are like, you know what, I think I might go down to that protest. Then you see that on video, and you say, I got a wife and a kid. Like, I can't, can't have that happen.
Yeah.
And so it's a deterrent. Like it looks terrible for them, but also they're doing it to deter average people from showing up to these protests. Like if you're going to go on these protests, you have to be willing to accept the fact that you might get tear gassed, arrested, tackled, or unalived. It's going to be hard tonight because what we're talking about. You notice on every other YouTube video, people say unalived instead of
Yeah.
KILL.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to try to do that so we don't get taken down in the algorithm. But like
Right.
it, it's scary now because I went to the first two No Kings protests and I didn't fear for anything. I was like, and it was very peaceful. Like the ones in my city were very nice. But as I watch
Sure.
everything going on now, I'm having to think about whether I'm gonna go to the next protest or not. Like it's getting different. Things are changing. So
Yeah. There's over 1,000 protests nationwide right now.
I believe it. I,
Here, I want to share one video with you real quick.
okay.
It's a quick one, but this is what happened in California. Um,
Building, which houses ICE field offices, DHS officers advanced and fired what appeared to be pepper balls. The footage shows a protester struck in the face by what appears to be a rubber bullet, leaving him bloodied before he falls and is dragged away.
What's upsetting about that? They said a protester got hit in the face by a rubber bullet. I was watching several former like federal officers and police officers like with rubber bullets and like rubber bullets. You're never supposed to aim above the chest basically because you get hit in the
Mhm.
eye with one of those, you're going blind. And with tear gas canisters, those are supposed to be fired into the ground like in front of people's feet. Like the intent is not to hit somebody with a tear gas canister. And one of the videos, I think it was in Minneapolis the other day, there were tear gas canisters flying by people's heads, like, and that's straight up against all training. It shot at the ground. So it's like ICE is out to hurt people. Like there was
They don't know
a
what they're doing. They have no idea what they're
no,
doing.
it's a lot of people that. So I'm going to play a clip from Tim Dillon a little bit later, but he's been on the money on this. Which Tim Dillon's a comedian, so we shouldn't put too much stock in what he says. But he's been on the money on this, and he was basically making the argument that like these are people that can't they failed out of mall cop school. Like these are people that they couldn't be a cop, they couldn't be a prison guard, they couldn't be a mall cop, but ICE will take anybody. So these are the people that didn't pass the different psych evaluations to be a real cop, and here they are now. And like, there were so many videos I wanted to pull, but I really just didn't want to do it. But it was a lady said something to an ICE agent at one of these protests, and he walked up to her calmly, and he was like, "Haven't you people learned after all that's happened in the last couple of days?" And she was like, "What? That if we don't listen to you, you're going to kill us?" And then he like leaned in and slapped her phone out of her hand and tried to tackle her. And it's like she was talking to him like that.
These people are reckless, man. I've saw two instances, at least two instances, where just yesterday or today, where the ICE agent actually pointed his gun in a protester's face.
Did you? I think you're probably talking about the same one, but like he had a pepper ball gun, and then he like put that down and pulled his gun and put the barrel like a foot from this lady's face, and it was like a lady that you couldn't see for sure, but she seemed like she was a little lady, like I'm gonna think little old lady. But he drew his gun and put it a foot from her face and held it there for about a second or two, and then he reholstered it. I think he realized what he had done. But like these people don't have the discipline needed to be a cop or to be any
No.
kind of
And
law
there was another
enforcement.
one where the guy had, I think, if I remember correctly, it's the M16, just from me and you playing 007 back in the day.
Okay.
It's like the short barrel with the two-handed short barrel gun.
Yeah, I don't know what that's
I,
called. I'll take your word for it.
I think it was the M16.
Something
And
like that.
he went and put it right in somebody's face and then like backed it back down. I think he realized what he had done, but he was like angry. Like, what if he would have pulled the trigger?
One, like I said, the lack of discipline and training is the hard because there was a video of two ICE agents in Minnesota and they were walking up to a sidewalk and one of them had like an AR-15 style gun, like an assault rifle, and
Hmm.
they were walking up and the one that had the big gun slipped on the ice and drug the other one down with him. And when he was falling, the gun discharged. Like he had his finger on the trigger when he fell, which like me and you have very limited firearms training compared to what a cop should have. But we both know that your finger doesn't go near the trigger till you're ready to kill somebody. Like they're sorry to unalive somebody. Like that's like unless you're
Some
willing to
thing.
take. Yeah, your
Yeah.
finger doesn't go near the trigger until it's time. And this guy was, they were walking and talking and they fell. And when his gun went off, they both like looked at each other like, oh my God. And it was it's one of those where they were almost like, am I hit? Okay, I'm not hit. Okay, we're moving on. What if that had gone through a window and hit, like they were walking him in front of a row of houses and did that? Like,
But
it's,
what if it killed a kid? Yeah.
these are just people that don't need to be officers. So before we get too much further, and I'm sure everybody that might be watching this, all seven of you, 7 to 50, depending on the day, everybody's probably seen the video of the lady in Minnesota that got shot. So we're not going to play that. I don't want to play that for the 20 millionth time. Um, what are your thoughts? Just from, I'm sure by now there's four different angles of it happening. Where do you stand on it? Just give me kind of
Sorry, where
your
do I stand on what?
uh,
Oh, the video of
yeah.
her getting.
What are your thoughts on it?
Um, I don't think she was trying to run him over. I think he was standing somewhat in front of the car. There's no reason for him to have pulled his gun at
Uh,
all.
I agree
He
with you.
could
So
have just jumped out of the way.
my thing is to anybody that's like, what really irritates me is that I think it was Christy Noam came out first. Like when we had just heard a lady got shot and killed. We didn't have any video. We didn't know what was going on. And Christy Noam comes out like an hour later and she says that they were stuck in the snow and a lady came and tried to use her car as a weapon and mow over the ice age. I can't remember her exact, but she made it seem like someone came intentionally. I first thing first, that's BS. There was no intent she was trying to turn clear of him. She did. There's people still arguing that she didn't strike him at all. The car didn't touch him. I think that he did. His leg got hit by the car. I'll just get out of the way. I think it
Grazed
happened.
him,
Okay.
barely. Sure.
It him. He seemed fine
But
afterward.
hold on, but in her defense, she was trying to get away from them because they were trying to drag her out of her car. Masked men with guns trying to drag you out of your car like I would try and drive away. I would
So
more
there's
than
like
likely I would be like, I'm getting the F out of here, man. I don't want anything to do with this. Like, I don't care who you are, what you're doing. I don't want to be involved with what you're doing.
I think that she panicked And I think any one of us could have panicked. Me and you could have done the same. She panicked, and I will say, and this you might disagree with this. She panicked and made a bad decision. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's ICE or the feds or the local police. Hey, if a cop's telling you to get out of your shit, that was a bad decision. Listen to the
No, I
police.
think she made the right decision.
Nah.
I think the police officer did something completely and utterly illegal and shot and killed her. Like in any other instance with any trained law enforcement officer, she would have been alive.
Agreed. Now hear me out. She made a bad decision. She panicked and made a bad decision, but that doesn't mean she should get killed.
What's
for it.
her bad decision?
A cop said to get out of the car. She should have gotten out of the car.
He's not a cop. Does he have a jurisdiction? Can a cop actually make you get out of your car?
So yes, a police officer can. Now an ICE agent doesn't have the power to pull over like they can't make a traffic stop on a citizen, but this is in the regulations. If there is a citizen that is blocking what they're trying to do, then they do have the power to detain that person until a police officer comes to make the arrest. So that's what they're allowed to do. And I firmly believe that no matter how BS like I watch a lot of the cops pulling people over on YouTube. I watch that stuff all day long. If a cop tells you to get out of the car, get out of the car. If you want to fight it, if you want to argue with them, the time to do that is in court in front of a judge. At this point in time, listen to the cop. You're going to get hurt if you don't listen to the cop. That's where I stand on that. But I don't think that you should get shot in the face 3 times because you didn't listen to a cop. That's not it's kind of like the drug boats in the Caribbean. Like smuggling drugs is not a capital offense. So to blow them up with a Hellfire missile, yes, it's wrong to smuggle drugs. Should you get the death penalty for that? No.
Is it really wrong to smuggle drugs?
Into America.
It's illegal to smuggle drugs.
It's illegal, okay? But that's where I stand with her. Is like, okay, she panicked. She panicked and she did a stupid thing. Like I feel comfortable saying that. She shouldn't have floored it. A cop is telling her, and there is a lot of people saying that it was conflicting stuff. One cop told her to get out of here, and the other one told her to get out of her car. She panicked, okay? As soon as the cop starts trying to open her door and says, get out of the car, she backed up and tried to pull away. She shouldn't have done that. I feel like that's something we can all agree on.
I don't think that it's legal for a cop to try and open your door and drag you out of your car.
Oh, so partially, I'll agree with you half on that. They should tell you to get out of the car once or twice, maybe 3 times max. And then if you don't, then they can open your door and remove you. If you don't listen to them, they're giving you a lawful command. I'm telling you, they're giving you a lawful command. If a cop tells you to get out of the car, you have to get out of the car. If you don't listen to the 1, 2, or 3 times they tell you that, they can now pull you out of the car.
But I thought your car was your home. They can't pull you out of your home.
You're wrong on that legally. Like any judge would. I'm telling you, I feel very confident I know the law on this. They're giving you a lawful order to exit the vehicle. You need to exit the vehicle. Doesn't mean you should get unalived for it. It's very clear. Like her punishment shouldn't have been what it was. Okay. Just throwing that out there. I think she panicked, and here a lot of people are saying, well, she panicked and made a bad decision, and then he panicked and made a bad decision. That's where I'm like, I don't know that he panicked. And the latest video that came out, the one that was from his cell phone, because he was holding a cell phone in his left hand and his gun in his right hand after he shot her 3 times in the face and she hit a tree. On the video, I don't know if you've seen this newest video, but as she hits the tree, he says effing B word. He calls her an effing B word. And it's like that right. I don't know why that's his video and he let it get out. That's bad for him. That shows his state of mind, his intent, that he had anger towards her. That was the last video that came out, and that came out, and JD Vance immediately comes out and he's like, see, all the media that said that he was wrong should be ashamed of themselves and should apologize. And then I watched the video and I'm like, this video is worse for him, in my opinion. It's become an ink blot test or a Rorschach test, whatever they call it, where like we're all watching the same video, and half of America sees it one way, and the other half of America sees it the completely opposite way. And it doesn't make sense to me. When I look at it, to me, I clearly see it one way, and then I go online and find out that a good portion of America sees it the complete opposite way that I do, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
No, she definitely should be alive right now. Did you see the video I think it was from the body cam, where she was like, I don't have anything against you guys. Like,
that was that video, and that wasn't a body cam. He was holding his cell phone in his left hand. He was holding it in his right hand when he walked around the car that first time, and then when he got to the front of the car, he switched the phone from his right hand to his left hand, which also shows intent that he thought at that point he might draw his gun. That's going to be used against him in court if it ever gets to that. But that was all his cell phone. And I'll say this, and I'm not taking the MAGA side of this issue, but everybody's like, she told him she has nothing against him. And she said it with a shit-eating grin. She was fucking with him. I feel confident in that. Doesn't mean she should get shot in the face, like at all.
No.
But people are framing that like she had nothing but love for him. No, she was being shitty to him. I don't know what the right word to say it is, but she was. But that's not a reason. The cops, if you're being a dick to a cop, they don't get to shoot you. That's not the deal. So, anyhow, real quick, when that last video, that body cam came out, or not the body cam, his cell phone, when JD Vance posted that, I got to show you this tweet real quick. So, Ryan Grimm is the reporter from Dropsite News and Breaking Points, who I love, but he had made a post where he said, "This is genuinely psychotic, innocent. He shot an unarmed woman twice through a side window and then called her an effing B word, let her bleed out, and fled the scene." JD Vance then posted the new video, the one that you're talking about, that doesn't make him look better. And JD said, "These people are incapable of not lying about this. Side window, you can see the photos of the car with the bullet holes. The shots came from the front of the car because that's where the officer was standing when he was hit by the car. He is allowed to discharge his weapon in self-defense." Okay, there's one bullet hole through the bottom right corner of the glass because the New York Times and the Washington Post did a frame by frame breakdown of this. He was barely clear of the car when the first shot was fired. Okay. He kind of was leaning over the hood and shot in there. Nobody knows if that was a headshot, if that was fatal, what that was, but that's where the first shot was. The next two clearly came through the driver. Like at that point, she's totally clear of him. He's standing beside the vehicle, and at point blank range, he shot two more times. I'm guessing right into the side of her head. Like those two shots are not justifiable at all. And you're not going to like this. The first shot, the one that went through the windshield, if that went to court, I think he could beat those charges. I think if it was only the one shot through the front glass, all he has to do is prove that he feared for his life. Okay, and there's a difference between what's legally right and wrong and what's morally right and wrong. Legally, I think he'd be cleared on that. Now, morally, I don't think he should have shot the gun at all. But the second and third shot, there is no justification for. And JD Vance is just like, he's saying side window, you can see all the bullet holes in the front. Now, either he's stupid, which I don't think he is, or he's hoping that all of his supporters are stupid and they haven't looked at this, because there's one bullet hole through the bottom right corner of the windshield. And the next two shots were clearly through the open side window. Why is he lying about this?
This is what the Trump administration does. In every instance since before they were elected, he was elected, whoever was the president. This is what they do. They try and create a narrative that is not true, even when you can see, like, believe my words, not your eyes. Like, what's that saying? That is exactly what Trump has done since the beginning. And I've actually started, what I'm doing is I'm sending Trump's crazy tweets to my dad. I'm sending him the tweets so that he can see them. And then I'll like send him stuff like this video, because I knew like Fox News wasn't going to actually show the video because it actually looks like the cop did something completely and utterly crazy and unhinged. So I sent him that video, and I'm just going to start sending him stuff that he's not going to see on Fox News.
That's a great tactic. I mean, you've joked about it, but like the best thing we could do is make all Trump supporters watch all of his rallies. Because like most Trump supporters, they get like a really curated news that's like only the good things, and like their news purposely doesn't show them all the stuff that would make them question if Trump's all there or not. I love your tactic there. You said something about not being able to believe this administration. There's a lot of people that would say like, oh, well, you can never believe the government. Obama said you can keep your doctor, and they could point out all these things. This administration is shockingly more brazen with the fact that you can't trust him. Trump, right afterward, he came out with his tweet, and then 2 days later, he was meeting with oil executives, and he said it again. But he was like, yeah, she was yelling and screaming and acting irrational, and it's like, we've all seen the tape. We saw that the guy recorded her going by, and that's when she said, I don't hate you, or I can't remember what she said to him, but she said something out the window to him. She wasn't yelling and screaming and acting irrational. And Trump keeps repeating that. And it's like, you're just making that up. Like, we can't trust that damn word. Kristi Noem's version of events right after it happened turned out to not be anything close to what happened.
Did you pull up Trump's tweet? Did you pull Trump's tweet?
I don't think I did.
Because that was like right after
Kristi Noem said. So he was going off what Kristi Noem had said. And that's what he said. And I should have pulled that one, because he said that the officer is lucky to be alive. He's in the hospital and will make a full recovery. the officer, we all saw him on tape walking away from this. He seemed just fine. Like, I don't know what we're
He
doing
got
here.
grazed by a car bumper.
Yeah. And something important to point out, and this appears to be true. He, back during the summer, during June or July, that this is against every regulation. But so he was trying to get someone who turned out to truly be illegal was in their car, and he was trying to get him out of the car, and he punched through their back window to try to get the door open.
With
The
his
guy,
fist?
with his fist. He punched through, and while his arm was still in the window, the guy pulled away, and he got drugged for I don't know how far, but the broken glass cut up his arm, so he needed like 34 or 36 stitches on his arm. So that just happened to this guy, okay, in June or July. And they're trying to use that as a reason. They're like, well, he already had this happen once, so obviously he was nervous about it or traumatized or whatever you want to say. But it's like, okay, that again, JD and Trump and Kristi Noem keep saying that. That's not going to help him in court. Every prosecutor and defense lawyer is saying that they're doing him a real injustice by continuing to say that. Because if that's the case, he shouldn't have been there in the first place, let alone standing in front of the car. Also, every federal officer that I've seen on the news says that they're trained to never put yourself in front of a car that is on and occupied. You're putting yourself in a riskful situation.
Yep.
Don't you never get in front of the car. And this guy moved directly in front of the car. He hasn't learned his lesson. So,
Right.
real quick
And, well, let's just talk about how unhinged that is. Like, first of all, he punches with his bare fist through somebody's window.
Mhm.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah, I
That
can't argue that.
alone,
Yeah.
like termination style. Like, if any police officer did that, I'm sure, like, at least the police chief would be like, we got to keep an eye on this guy because that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Well,
crazy shit.
so I watch plenty of videos where the person won't get out of the car and they end up taking their little baton and extending it and breaking the window. Okay, I get that. He punched through the window and had his arm in there, and then he got cut up because the guy, that's going to happen. That's clearly going to happen. So, real quick, talking about not being able to believe our government, I laughed because somebody asked Grok the other day. It said identifying or they asked him to identify the top disinformation spreaders on X. Grok said. Identifying top disinformation spreaders on X is subjective and varies by source. Based on 24 to 2026 reports from diverse outlets, frequently cited include, and he lists 1 through 10. Number 1, Elon Musk. Number 2, this is Grok. This is Elon's AI. Number 1, Elon Musk. Number 2, Donald Trump. Number 3, Robert Kennedy Jr. Number 4, Alex Jones. Number 5, Tucker Carlson. Number 6, Libs of TikTok. So the top 6 are all Republican. Now 7 is Occupy Democrats and 8 is Midas Touch. Probably correct on that.
Midas Touch doesn't seem to be.
I've told you why I don't like Midas Touch. They're too. Trump had his worst. Trump suffers embarrassing defeat, and I would say I'd say that's misinformation. So I have no problem with this.
Okay.
Number 9 is RT, which is Russia Today, and number 10 is Jackson Hinkle, who is a Republican tweet guy. So that's what Elon's AI seems to think is that
Elon, then Donald Trump.
Yeah, Elon,
Okay.
Trump, and then Robert Kennedy Jr. So that's where we're at. So that's how we don't trust our government. One other thing to point out here, just because we're going to talk in a second about all the things that Republicans seem to not believe anymore. But Republicans used to really be into like our constitutional rights. That was something they talked about a lot. Listen to JD Vance here real quick. I want to make a point out of this.
On duty, or has he been placed on leave, on administrative leave? And what really was the target of the operation on Wednesday, of the ICE operation on Wednesday?
Well, first of all, it was a legitimate law enforcement operation. We were going door to door to try to find criminal illegal aliens and deport them from the United States of America, because if you come to our country illegally in violation of our immigration laws, then we have the mandate, and in fact, we have the legal duty to enforce those immigration laws.
Okay. Real quick. He said they said, what was the target of the operation? Well, we were going door to door looking for illegal aliens. Now, first of all, just on a broad scale, this was supposed to be going after the worst of the worst, the bad hombres, the drug dealers, the murders, whatever it was. They're going door to door in Minneapolis, just knocking on doors, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that, the Fourth Amendment's very clear. I'm going to read the Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. Going door to door looking for illegals is a straight up violation of the Fourth Amendment. Like, that's as clear cut as it can be. They could never get a warrant or anything to say, oh, we're just going to go to this neighborhood and knock on every door and ask to see everybody's identification and passports to prove they're American. You can't do that. That's straight up
That
against
sounds
the
like
Fourth
Nazi
Amendment.
Germany.
That does. Let me see your papers. You knock on every door. Let me see your papers. What? Like, and JD said that like it was, we're going door to door. That's what we're doing. Are you kidding me? Like, what do Republicans still believe in at this point besides whatever Trump says we're just going to go with? Like, I don't get that. Like, I made a list. I had to think long and hard about this, but I got a quick list of things that, because I was a Republican most of my life. Republicans used to believe strongly in limited government, okay? Limited government. Trump ran on limited government, but that's not what we're doing at all. So, okay, and also, I don't know if you saw, he's gonna balloon the military budget, the Pentagon budget, up to 1.5 trillion is what he's asking for. The highest it had ever been was 900 trillion last year, and he got it up to or 900 billion, excuse me, and he got it up to a trillion this year, and everybody was like, "Wow, $1 trillion for military. This is getting ridiculous." Trump now wants to go to 1.5 for 2027. So anyhow, just limited.
And a lot of that money is going to go to like Peter
Yeah.
Thiel and Elon Musk and
Yep.
a number of
Defense
these
contractors.
tech billionaires. Yeah.
Yeah. And limited government and also no new wars. And that's not been like, that hasn't been a Republican thing for long, but Republicans since Trump have been the whole, why are we spending our money fighting these wars overseas? It needs to be going here at home. So right there, limited government and no new wars. They seem to not believe in because of all, we're going to talk later about all the different military things he's trying to get us into. States' rights. Right now, we've got the feds sending in federal officers that the states don't want there. They were sending in the National Guard a couple months ago that the states didn't want. And basically, Republicans have now said, well, the federal government supersedes the states. No, that's exactly the opposite of everything Republicans have always stood for. But okay.
Well, I mean, that's against our Constitution, isn't it?
You would think so. Federalism is what it's, federalism is what it'd be against. But free market capitalism. I didn't even pull much on this, but Trump in the past couple days has said that he doesn't want, what is it? He's got all these rules he's putting out. He can't enforce them at all, but like the heads of these defense contractors can't make more than $5 million a year. They have to reinvest. They can't do stock buybacks. He said yesterday that credit card companies, he's going to impose a limit of 10%, which I like that one. That's a Bernie rule right there, but that's not at all.
All three of those are Bernie rules and great and good.
Yeah, honestly, that's that. If Kamala or Bernie or Obama had suggested any of that, Republicans would have lost their damn mind and screamed that's communism or that's socialism. Trump's doing it, and Republicans are like, all right, and it's like, you know what? Take the win. Take the win. If they're going to do some socialism, then okay, cool. Reducing the federal budget or deficit or federal debt and deficit is something we've just thrown out the window. The Republicans don't seem to care about. An independent banking system, as I just described with his whole 10% limit on credit card interest. Freedom of religion. It seems like we're a Christian country at this point in their eyes, and no other religion is warranted. And more and more they're talking about no Muslims in the United States. Islam is not compatible with the United States Constitution. We shouldn't have them here. Is kind of what they're saying. So, okay. And then the last one I had was respect for the judiciary, the judges. Republicans were big on, well, a court decided, it's up to the courts. Now they want to impeach all the judges that don't agree with Trump. So it's hard for me to really think at this point, like, what do Republicans truly stand for? Because all the things they always stood for are out the window at this point. So
I've been asking you this same question for a long time, Andy.
I have no
and you've
good
been holding on to this belief that the Republican Party was still the grand old party from your childhood or whatever, even though it was so horrible back then, but you were so brainwashed into thinking the Republicans were so good.
There's still certain things that the old Republican Party believed in that I still would agree with. Now,
Like?
the current, I would agree with immigration policy and strong borders. And I don't mean nobody should get in. I mean, we need to come up with a new immigration policy, something that makes sense. Like
Every president has tried that over the last, 3 or 4 decades?
Since the 90s. I think since H.W. Bush, they've
Yeah.
been trying to do a new immigration policy, and it ain't happening. But I'm a firm believer that we need to know who's coming into our country, and they need to be vetted. Democrats are there now, but throughout the past 20 years, they've been back and forth, and there's been times where they're like, no, everybody should get to come. No. Not everybody. We need to know who's coming into our country. So that's
No, I mean, it's been more laxed border, but I guarantee you they wouldn't say like, yeah, let the criminals in, let the murderers into the country.
I agree with you on that, but in general, they've kind of been it's everybody's right to get to come to America, and I'm like, no, it's not everybody's right to get to come to America. So that's and then the spending, government spending used to be a big priority for Republicans. It's clearly not anymore. But that I was back when we used to talk politics back in the day. That was my main thing. Is I was a deficit hawk, and I didn't like the spending Obama was doing. Now it turns out Trump got into office and spent more than Obama. And then Biden kept the spending where Trump had it, and now Trump is spending even more. So clearly that's not a thing anymore. But those are the main two that I would have said back in the day was federal spending. I had a problem with. I want us to be smarter about how we spend our tax dollars.
Right. But you said that the Republicans were good on that, right?
They used to talk
How
about
would you
being good
phrase
at
that?
it. They
used
used
to
to
talk. That's the
yeah.
key. Is they used to talk about it.
They
We're
tricked
going
me.
to lower the budget, but they're like, if you look at all we've done this. We've looked it up. The financials or the deficit from Republican and Democrat, and the Republicans are way worse on the budget
Yes.
every time.
And it's part of the brainwashing though, because like H.W. Bush, it was important for. So let's go back in time. H.W. Bush ran right after Reagan. He was Reagan's VP, and when he ran, he said, "Read my lips, no new taxes." And I believe he truly didn't want to raise taxes on anybody. He had a point where they were going to be over budget. It was going to add to the debt, and for H.W. Bush, that was unheard of. He's like, "I'm not going to allow us to rack up a debt." So he then had to raise taxes, which is the reason he didn't win re-election because he had promised no new taxes, but it meant so much to him to not run up the debt that he was like, I got to break a campaign promise and raise taxes on people so that we don't put the country into debt. That meant a lot to him. From that point on, every Republican president, which has only been W. Bush and Trump, W. Bush, he got away with saying, "Well, yeah, the debt's going up, but it's because we're in a war. We're in two wars. We're in Iraq, we're Afghanistan. In a time of war, that's when you run up the debt and then you pay it down during times of peace." So that made sense at the time to a lot of Republicans. Be like, well, we're at war, so that makes sense. Since then, it's been a shit show. But anyhow,
It's crazy.
yeah,
We're in crazy times, Andy.
it is. It's effing crazy. I'm trying not to cuss as much. On the last episode, I noticed that I was dropping F-bombs left and right, so I'm trying to be better about that. The only other post about all this that I wanted to show you, ICE, even though like right now, to me, most Americans should be looking at what's happening and be horrified by how outrageous ICE is being and violating people's rights. They don't seem to see it that way, and in fact, they're trying to recruit based off of this. Here, pull up.
They're trying to recruit based off this.
Yeah.
So this is how they get the horrible, evil people in ICE uniforms.
Yes.
Wait.
So there's actually a video of this. Like this is a still shot of a video, but that's after the shooting in Minneapolis. I think it was on the same day. They ended up on the front of a high school in Minnesota, and the class was getting out, and students were out there, and teachers were out there, and they ended up tear gassing a lot of high school students. But this kid, the ICE officer, and I'm gonna tell the story as true as I can. The ICE officer pushed him, like to push him down, and the kid reached out to grab the ICE officer, and he got a hold of the sling for the officer's gun. So like as he was falling, he grabbed that, and at that point, the officer was like, "Oh, he's trying to grab my gun." So the officer turned his tear gas gun, whatever, and shot the guy point blank in the face. Like,
was that a tear gas canister?
it wasn't a canister. It was like a cloud of pepper, but he shot the guy right in the face. And I saw that, and I was like, okay, I see there that the guy did put his hand on the officer's weapon. It was on the strap, but either way. But it all started because the guy was standing there, and the officer walked up and pushed him. In all these cases, like even like with that lady that was blocking traffic that ended up getting shot in the face 3 times, like to me, where that all started is she was waving them around. This is real key. She waved the first ICE vehicle by, and they went by, and she tried to wave the second one by, and they stopped, got out, and one of them said, "Get out of here," and then the other one just walked up and grabbed her door and started pulling on it and said, "Get out of the car." Like they're escalating the situation. In a lot of these cases, it's ICE that escalates it, and then I will say, then the citizen does something irrational. They panic. In this guy's case, he grabbed a hold of the strap holding the officer's weapon as he was falling. I get it. That lady, she tried to get away. I'm gonna say she bumped a cop. That's the best way I can. Um, but it's like it didn't have to get there at all. And I want to play because of all the people with all the comments, Tim Dillon to me, I feel like he's right on the same path or the same wavelength that I'm on this, like the way he views it. So let's watch Tim Dillon real quick just so you can see what he had to say.
Now, I don't believe from the angle I'm watching that the federal officer feared for his life. At the speed she's going when she's turning the wheel, I don't believe that the federal officer feared for his life. He could have shot the tires. They could have done other things. This idea that everyone they have to just shoot them in the head. Justifiable anger. This woman got shot in the head and the guy didn't have to do it. You watched the video. Was it smart for her to accelerate or try to get away and not obey his command? Well, clearly not. She's dead. But did he feel like he was going to die if he didn't shoot her 3 times to the face? I don't believe that. He's shooting her from the side of the car in the window.
What was it smart of her to do that? No. Did she panic and make a bad decision? Yes. Did that need to happen though? Did he? And he said it there, and people keep saying like they could have shot the tires. They didn't need it. He had walked around the car once and filmed her license plate. At that point, she tries to drive off. Let her drive off. You'll go get her. You know, you got her license plate. You'll be able to find her. That's all that needs to happen.
Yeah. But you were also saying that one person was telling her to leave and one person was telling her to get out of the car.
Yeah.
So
she panicked. And in that situation, and there's a lot of reports of that. That happens all the time where during heightened situations, multiple officers are yelling something at the person, and one's saying, come towards me, and the other one's saying, get down or whatever. And then the person doesn't know what to do, and they do the wrong thing, and they get shot. That happens all the time. There's videos of that everywhere. That's bad police work right there.
Yeah.
And I don't, in most of the times that happens, I don't think it's purposeful. I don't think the intent was to kill the person. I think that 2 guys were yelling orders.
Let's stop calling ICE police because they're not police.
Yeah,
they're not like I would say that our police forces, some police forces aren't trained that well.
You know how many days of training ICE gets?
How many?
Well, you're gonna love this. They used to get like 6 weeks or so, 6 or 8 weeks or whatever. It was the whole thing.
Okay.
When Trump came into office, they changed it to 47 days of training because Trump is the 47th president. So they did that symbolically. So they get 47 days of training. There's also been all these reports that most of them don't pass the written test, can't pass the physical tests, but they all get passed anyway. Even if they fail these tests, they're still getting let through.
That's horrible.
Several of them did not pass background checks, but still got put through.
This is insane.
Mhm.
That oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They didn't pass background checks and are still ICE officers.
Yeah. And like this guy, the guy that shot the lady in Minnesota, he actually has been an ICE officer for like 10 years, I think they said. He's not a new guy that went through limited training. He's been there. Now, he spent a lot of time in Iraq. Not everybody that comes back from a war zone is on edge or has some PTSD, but some do. Okay. He might be one of those people. Also, they've interviewed the guy's family. He's gotten in arguments with his family on Facebook recently because like he stands up when they talk bad about the Proud Boys, he stands up for them. He seems like he's a far right kind of guy. He loves Trump, loves MAGA. He's been an ICE officer for 10 years.
Mhm.
It seems like the kind of guy that probably couldn't get hired as a cop in most departments because they would talk to him, do a little. Most of the time when you hire a police officer in any, I don't want to say big city, but any decent sized city, part of it is a psych evaluation. Do you have the temperament to be a cop?
Yeah.
I don't think they're doing that with ICE agents at all. I think they're purposely going for the ones that don't have that temperament.
I think you're right. Yeah.
That's what it seems like. So it's bad. The last thing I'll say on this, Stephen Colbert, he had what I think was like the shortest and most succinct way to describe all this. And he said, if ICE comes to your town, it's obey or die. And if you die, then you clearly didn't obey. And that's kind of the way they look at it. And it's like, that's sad. Like, that's not, I don't know. If a person has a weapon, which they're saying this vehicle, she turned her vehicle into a weapon and tried to mow down a cop. Like, if that was the case, then I get it. But what I see on that video is clearly not that. And when he was on his phone and he's walking across the front of the vehicle, a lot of people were pointing out in the first videos, you can see her tires turn all the way to the right. So she's not trying to hit him. But a lot of people pointed out where he was standing, he probably couldn't see her tires. That's a valid point, okay?
Okay.
Now, when he released his video
But he
from
could
his
see her hand on the steering wheel.
so when he released his video, which again I don't know why he released that, it's not good for him anyway, but you can clearly see that she backs up and then she's cranking the wheel hand over hand all the way to the right and then gasses it. He should have been able to see that. She didn't aim the car at him. She was trying to get. To me, it's so clear that she was trying to flee. Now she shouldn't have been trying to flee. They told her to get out of the car. I agree with
Well,
whatever
they
they're gonna
told her
say
to
there.
leave too. So
They
maybe
did.
she was hearing
But-
one guy and not hearing the other guy. And also, like she did speed off. She did kind of hit the gas a little hard getting
Oh,
out of that situation.
Yeah,
Like
she was
could
trying to
have,
get out of there. Like I said, they have a point there. She shouldn't have tried to flee. I get it. You also can't kill someone for fleeing. That's just
No.
that's the way it is. So
you can't aim your weapon at a U.S. citizen either,
yeah, I
and during a peaceful protest.
no, you can't. And I'll say this: I'm glad because I think when I talked to you about it, I think the first day it happened, I told you I was like, man, I'm kind of pissed about all this. And if I go on Facebook later tonight and I see the usual people that we went to high school with, that are going to be justifying this and blaming it's going to set me off. Like I've done so good for like 10 years now of not getting in the comments on Facebook and trying to argue with people. I'm really good at it now. And I was really afraid that I was going to end up in somebody's comments yelling at someone. Luckily, I only saw one person that we know that was doing that kind of thing on Facebook, and it was the usual idiot that we always see. You know who I'm talking about. So,
I saw one other person.
somebody we
lives
both
in
know.
Chicago. Yeah,
Oh, that guy.
yeah.
Okay, I didn't
saw
see his
him.
post. Well,
Yeah.
how bad was his post?
I don't remember. I just remember seeing it, and then he was totally for it. Like, and
Yeah.
then another one of our buddies ended up chiming in and like getting in arguments with people, and I was just like, oh, great.
Does that person's name start with an M?
Yeah.
Okay, I did see that post actually, and I very
Okay.
much that was one of those where I wanted to jump in and have his back, but I was like, no, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, just stay out of it.
Don't
So,
do it. Don't do it. Just stay out.
I wanted to. So, anyhow, and a lot of people are making this point because Minnesota wanted to be part of the investigation with the feds. And according to every ex FBI agent that's been on the news, that's how the FBI prefers it. Because a lot of times the local officials, local police force has certain things at their disposal that would be helpful to the FBI. So it makes sense to do a joint investigation with the FBI and the local police force. That's how they prefer it. In this situation, the FBI is stonewalling them. They say, nope, you can't have any access to any of the evidence. The FBI is handling this. Local can't do it. Clearly, they're going to find a way to make sure he doesn't get in trouble for this. And even if he does, they're going to try to. If they were to charge him, they would charge him federally so that Trump can then pardon him. If he gets charged at the state level, he can't get pardoned. If Trump pardoned him, say they charge him, they have to actually charge him, and then Trump pardons him. They can't then go back and charge him at the state level because that would be double jeopardy, and that's in the Constitution. You can't do that. So what everybody's pointing out is it would be really smart of the state to just not do anything, to collect evidence and don't do anything and wait till Trump is out of power and then charge him. The statute of limitations on something like this is like 20 years. So they got plenty of time. If they try to charge him now, Trump could do a maneuver where he'll basically remove it from the state and bring it to federal court since it's a federal officer and then pardon him and basically thwart the whole thing. So the best scenario Minnesota can do right now is collect all the evidence you can and wait 3 years and hope that it's not a Republican in 2028 and then charge him.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I think he should get charged and I think he should go in front of a jury. And if the jury finds that he did credibly fear for his life, I'm going to accept that. I think morally it's still wrong, but like there's a difference between legal and moral. I think this needs to be investigated and go in front of a jury, and whatever the jury decides at that point, I will deal with. I'm not going to argue with it.
But you made a good point though. Like maybe that first round that went through the windshield, he was fearing for his life. But the second two, he was on the side of the car. There's no way he was fearing for his life. And like, let's say he shot her once through the windshield and he missed.
Yeah. And
then he actually like cold-bloodedly murdered her with the second two rounds. Plus, hold on, they also apparently there was a physician on the scene.
I saw that.
And he was trying to get into, and he was like, let me go render aid on her. And they wouldn't let him render aid for like 15 minutes. And so she bled out in her car.
So, and it was,
Like,
it
she could
wasn't,
have possibly been saved.
it was so irritating. So there's a video of that, and he's yelling. He's like, he's trying to tell them, he's like, check for a pulse from across the street, and they're not even touching her. And then he starts saying, I'm a physician. Let me get in there and stop the bleeding. And they're like, sir, calm down. We have medics on the way. We have our own medics. Like, you don't need to do this. And he's like, no, someone needs to go stop the bleeding right now. And they basically kept telling him to calm down. And then, because I watched the first video that came out was like 10 or 12 minutes long. And so she hits the tree. The officer that shot her walks over, takes a look, and then he walks back and hops in a car and flees the scene. That's almost an admission of guilt right there. The fact that he left right away. But she was in the car for about 4 or 5 minutes and nobody did anything. And then a team of ICE agents came over and got her and picked her up, like four of them, like one on each arm and one on each leg, and carried her down the street and around the corner, just not trying to put any pressure on the wounds or stop bleeding or anything, just carried her away. It turns out it's because they'd called an ambulance, but they had the whole street blocked off, so an ambulance couldn't have got there. So they were carrying her to where the ambulance was. She didn't actually end up at the ambulance for 14 minutes after the shot. At that point, she's done. And 3 shots to the head. I don't think that physician, had they let him get in there, I don't think he could have done anything to save her life. But also,
the fact that they didn't let him actually go and check is
you have to.
Up.
Yeah, that's part of every policy for every different law enforcement group is you have to render aid. Even if it was someone who was trying to kill a cop and then they end up shooting that person, they then have to render aid. That's part of the job.
Yeah.
They didn't even try. So not only did they not try, they blocked a physician from trying to render aid. It's wrong in every
bad training all over. It's just they're not trained.
Yeah.
They didn't pass their written test. They didn't pass their physical test. They're not trained well. They have the temperament of a Gestapo and SS, and this is who we're dealing with in the United States right now, which is insane.
JD Vance came out like 2 days later, and he showed up at the White House press briefing where Carolyn Levitt is normally talking, and she brought him out, and he basically scolded the media for blaming this officer. It was everything he was saying was ridiculous in my mind. But he said these officers have absolute immunity is the phrase he used, and it's like whoa, hold on. Nobody's ever claimed that police officers have absolute immunity. Now, police officers have limited immunity, and people are upset about that. People think they shouldn't even have that. I think you could make an argument for some limited immunity for officers, not total by any means. But JD Vance said they have absolute immunity. What the F? Like, nah. And then he said that, and then it was either later that day or the next day, there was a shooting in Portland by ICE where they shot 2 Venezuelan migrants that are, I don't know what I believe here, but the news is saying that they're a married couple from Venezuela. or DHS, Kristi Noem is saying that they're Tren de Aragua. It's a Tren de Aragua gang member and a Tren de Aragua prostitute, and they're not married. Who knows what the real case is, but when ICE first, or DHS, Kristi Noem came out, she was saying, oh, well, they tried to run over an officer and he fired a defensive shot, is the way, a defensive shot, singular, is what they said. Turns out the guy got hit 2 times, the lady got hit 1 time. So 3 shots were fired, and the 2 witnesses that saw it said that as they were speeding away, officers were firing into the car. So there's no body cam of that. There's no video. Who knows? The witnesses say that it wasn't like they were getting run over. And also, if several people have pointed this out, if a car is driving at you, someone's trying to mow you down, if you shoot and kill the person in the car is still coming towards you. Like, get out of the way. Like, shooting them doesn't stop the car. The best thing to do is get out of the way in that situation. So it's maddening. I was in a funk for a couple days over this, and it wasn't like what happened to the lady was terrible. It was. But what pissed me off and put me in a funk was the reaction by half the country to it, where it was like, even Megyn Kelly, who she's so back and forth, I never know what she's going to say, but somebody tweeted like, she didn't deserve to get shot in the face 3 times for this. And Megyn Kelly tweeted back and was like, yes, she absolutely did. And I'm just like, what? Like, even if she, okay.
No.
Yeah. It's scary. I normally, there's certain people in my life that either are on the opposite side as me or sometimes can float back and forth. And when these things happen, I like to check in with them and see what their point of view is. And in this case, I purposely have not, because I'm very afraid that they're going to say something where I'm going to be like, well, now I don't even want to be your friend. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't want to, that's so. Anyhow.
I mean, you can watch the video. That's the whole thing, is you watch the video and it's cut and dry. I mean, the guy was not and fear for his life.
That's why I thought about I called you today and asked you if we should show the video or not. And my big thing is if I thought that there was somebody who would see the video and go, oh, I had thought that he was justified, but now that I see the video, I don't know. I think everybody's dug in and everybody who's
Yeah,
needs,
I mean, if you want to see it, there's everybody showing the
yeah.
video. If you want to go see it, go watch the video. Like, we don't need to show it. It's fine.
The video is not changing anybody's minds at this point. Everybody
There's
immediately,
multiple videos with multiple angles.
yep.
Look,
But
you
the thing
can
is,
watch it.
everybody's already made up their mind and jumped on a side, and nobody's changing their view on this at this point. You're dug in. Everybody's dug in on what they believe. So I don't get it.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's
just
sad.
just for fun, do you want to do a little? It's not a quiz, but you want to do a little checklist with me?
Yeah, what checklist? Third Reich MAGA. Okay, Third Reich versus MAGA. You're gonna show this?
Yeah. So, and I'm not saying I agree with all of this. I'm just saying it is a fun little experiment. Okay. The Third Reich ran on a platform of restoring the country to former greatness. MAGA ran on a platform of restoring the country to former greatness. Okay, that does check out. That's a lot of people run for office with the promise of restoring former greatness. So that's not specific to these, but yes, that checks out, right?
Make America Great Again. Okay.
Yeah.
War on universities and professors.
MAGA.
100%.
Yeah,
Okay.
MAGA war on university. Okay, so that checks out too. Puts unwanted minorities in concentration camps. MAGA puts unwanted minorities. So that one I'll disagree with slightly. Now we are trying to get certain groups.
No, wait a second. The concentration, I mean, they built a whole concentration camp. They took Indian reservation land to build a concentration camp in Florida and put people in there. And apparently it was horrendous. Like,
Yeah. Okay. If it wasn't for what was the name of the prison in El Salvador? Secot. The one. So like that.
another one.
That is kind of a concentration camp. And if it wasn't for that, I would say no to this. But because of that, where I'm like, it kind of, I guess you could make the argument that yeah, it kind of is. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
100% a concentration camp.
let's say we're 3 for 3 at this point.
Bans books.
Yeah, that does check out.
100%.
Okay.
War on free press.
Okay, we're
So
5
much.
we're 5 for 5. We're on the free press. The Third Reich said Jews should be monitored by the government and removed from the country. MAGA says that Muslims should be monitored by the government and removed from the country. So, okay, that does check out. Secret police that kidnaps people and sends them to secret prisons. That that kind of checks out.
Yeah.
Claims there's no need for due process of law. MAGA. So here's the one difference there. MAGA claims that non-citizens don't get due process. Now, the Constitution says all persons, it doesn't say all citizens, but that's the one difference there is that MAGA said that, well, if they're not a citizen, they don't get due process. I believe that what the Constitution says is very clear on that.
Did Renee Good get due process?
Well, no, but if you listen to them, she was trying to use her vehicle as a weapon and mow down officers. So, wages aggressive wars for oil. Wages, okay, that checks out.
We just did that one.
Leader has military parades for their own glory. Shit. Okay, so
there's a lot of similarities between MAGA and the Third Reich.
I'm not saying that all Republicans are Nazis at all. I'm just saying that our current administration is doing some things that mirror 1930s Germany. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, what was the F word that I used? I've been using since.
Yeah, fascism. It's but Germany wasn't fascist.
Hitler was a complete fascist.
Was he? And so Mussolini was a fascist.
Hitler was a fascist.
Hold on, I want to Google this because I hold on. Where's the Google?
Yeah, he ran on a fascist platform for sure.
Was Hitler a fascist or a totalitarian? Is what the Adolf Hitler's regime was both fascist and totalitarian. Nazism is considered a specific, more extreme form of fascism that incorporates scientific racism and anti-Semitism, and it establishes a one-party state that controlled nearly all aspects of life, a hallmark tradition of totalitarianism. So he was a little bit of fascism, a little bit of totalitarianism. So, okay, you got me there.
But I think he ran on a fascist platform, like when he ran for president.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Yeah. Anyhow, okay, well. Bummer. I will say, and I'm glad, I guess. So there are some people that were Trump supporters that are getting disillusioned by all this. And whether it be the ICE shootings or the foreign wars or you name it, there's starting to be rumblings where they're not really on board anymore. The libertarians is an interesting one. Libertarians is like 3 or 4% of the vote. But 3 or 4% of the vote sways an election. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. 100%.
all the libertarian parties, and I didn't pull all of them, but like the Kentucky Libertarian Party tweeted out, "We hate the Democrats, but the Republicans suck so bad right now that they deserve to lose everything in November." Massey excluded, Thomas Massey. That was followed up by which one's this? The Libertarian Party of Louisiana said you can't be a libertarian and cheer for a police state. And then that was retweeted by the Libertarian Party of Colorado, who agreed you can't believe in a freedom and cheer for a police state. So I'm glad the libertarians are starting to see what's going on here. And then, like I said, it's all like the podcast bro, Theo Vaughn and Rogan and Tim Dillon's totally jumped ship, but they're all not down with what's going on. And there's a lot to not be down about. Like I mean, whether it's ICE,
has Rogan actually spoken out about this?
he is limited. He's expressed that he's not down with certain things, but he's definitely biting his tongue to a degree. There was a show where Rogan had on when he had James Tallarico on. Somebody was talking about this a month ago, but when he had James Tallarico on, apparently like his fan base was revolting in the comments. It was like one of his least listened to episodes. Like they didn't want to hear it. They don't want him to have a Democrat on. So his numbers were terrible, and then the people that did watch it were bitching in the comments like, why would you have on a Democrat to talk bad about Trump? And he heard it, and now he's like, well, I don't want to upset my audience, so they call that audience capture. But he's tiptoeing. He's trying to kind of say that he doesn't like it, but he's not full throated saying he doesn't like it. So, and that's
I wish he would just be himself. He used to be so outspoken about stuff, and now he's captured by his audience, I guess. He had somebody on recently, and he was like, I was shooting arrows in my backyard, and all of a sudden I get a phone call from Donald Trump. And it was you and Donald Trump hanging out, and
I saw that. I can't remember who that was. Who was that?
It's like seriously,
that was the NVIDIA guy. I think I can't remember the guy's name. He's an Asian guy, but he's the head of NVIDIA.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so let's move on from the Minnesota shooting. We got all that out. Real quick, the jobs report came out on Friday. They added 50,000 jobs in December, which is less than expected, and they revised down November and October also. December is going to get revised down, and it'll probably be close to zero, if not negative, once they revise it. But for the year, we only added 584,000 jobs in all of 2025. That is the worst year since 2003. So the tariffs and all of Trump's policies haven't made the economy totally collapse, but it's made it stagnant. And like Biden didn't go into a technical recession, but he had what's called stagflation. It seems like that's what Trump's administration is going to be, where it's like it's not technically crashing, but it's also doing bad enough to where people are hurting. So anyhow, so that's
doing worse than when Biden was in office.
Sure. Yeah, by far at this point it is, and the Republicans seem to not want to accept that. But like things are not as good as they were in 2024 and half of 2023. Now, the first half of Biden's administration was not good at all, but he had things turned around on that last year and a half. We'll see. Also, the Supreme Court was supposed to rule on Friday. They announced that was their decision day, and everybody was expecting the tariff announcement, and then they didn't do it. So, bunch of wimps, if you ask me. But so we didn't get a tariff decision. So, anyhow,
you know what else is getting worse?
What's that?
Measles cases.
Oh, I saw there was like a 68% increase in South Carolina the other day, or something like that.
Yeah, South Carolina's getting it big. Utah had like 20 new cases. We have in the last year we've had 2,246 cases.
Yeah, that's a
record. And they're spread across the United States. Yeah, so it's spread across the United States. Obviously, Texas is a big one. Utah has a bunch. New Mexico has a bunch, and then South Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky.
Yeah. We pretty much had measles eradicated in the U.S. And what's funny is everybody was like, "Why are we even given measles vaccine? Measles isn't a thing anymore." And it's like, yeah, it's not a thing anymore because of the vaccine. The second we stopped, and we hit a point, like I think it was in the last 2 or 3 years, where we no longer have herd immunity. There's enough people not vaccinated. I don't know the full science, but basically, once you hit like 90% or something like that vaccinated, you have herd immunity where you're pretty much going to protect your population. We fell under whatever that percentage is now, and now we don't have herd immunity for it. So
It's funny. I was comparing the John Hopkins report to the CDC's report of it,
okay,
and it's just like they just make it look like it's less, not as bad as it is on the
I'm
CDC
shocked.
website.
You mean the government's lying to
But they're
us?
actually keeping track. I guess they have to keep track because John Hopkins is keeping track,
Okay. Yeah.
which was shocking, right? I thought they were just gonna like not keep track of it, but the hospitals kind of have to keep track of it, I guess.
I think the hospitals just track cases because that's part of their job, and then
Yeah.
somebody luckily is going around and collecting all that data from the different hospitals. So
Yeah. John Hopkins.
yeah, so
Yeah.
pathetic.
So.
Anyhow, moving on to all the different military engagements real quick. So remember I told you last time that like, hey, right now it looks like Venezuela was pretty easy. We got in, we got out, nothing bad happened. The thing is, like in Iraq, like we made it the second time we went to Iraq in 2003, in like 3 days we ran Saddam out of Baghdad. Like after 5 days into that, you could kind of declare victory. Like, and for about a year and a half, everything looked pretty good. It was like, oh man, we went into Iraq, we kicked some butt, everything's good. And it took like a year and a half till we started having all these insurgencies and troops dying, and then we realized, oh, this is going to be a deal. Libya, when we got Hillary Clinton got Gaddafi out of there, like for about a year, 2 years, you could say that worked out pretty good, and then the country fell apart. So there's a hesitation here where it's real easy to declare victory right away, but you don't know what the consequences are going to be coming later. It didn't last that long for Venezuela. Venezuela, I saw this today. This is the State Department runs the travel.gov, which basically that's who issues travel advisories. Like, don't go to this country. They
right.
released a tweet today. This is kind of long. Forgive me in advance, but it says this is from the government. Venezuela. The security situation in Venezuela remains fluid. As international flights have resumed, U.S. citizens in Venezuela should leave the country immediately. Before departure, U.S. citizens should take precautions and be aware of their surroundings. There are reports of groups of armed militias known as colectivos setting up roadblocks and searching vehicles for evidence of U.S. citizenship or support of the United States. Remain vigilant and exercise caution when traveling by road. Monitor airline communications and websites for updated information. Venezuela has the highest travel advisory level, level 4, do not travel, due to severe risk to Americans, including wrongful detention, torture, detention, terrorism, kidnapping, arbitrary enforcement of local laws, crime, civil unrest, poor health, and infrastructure. And then it says enroll in the smart enrollment program for more information. So we've officially told all Americans to get out of Venezuela because they're hunting collaborators down there. Anybody that was working with the U.S., they are hunting for.
Whoa. Estimates suggest around 10,000, more than 10,000 U.S. citizens are residing in Venezuela as of 2024, 2025.
Yeah, well, they told them to all get out of there because if any of these militia groups find you, they're going to probably take you captive and torture you and kill you because you're working with the enemy. So,
Well, this seems like something Trump should go in and get our citizens out of, right?
the way you would do that is by sending in troops to get our citizens out. I don't know how do you do that? You got to send in boots on the ground to get them out safely. So then now we're sending in invasion.
So we have 10,000 U.S. citizens that are basically fleeing for their lives right now in a country that we put on unrest.
It seems like it. I mean, I don't know. This is Trump's administration giving this post tonight. So cool. Like this is going to go great. And I didn't pull any of this, but Trump got them to give what was it, like 3 to 4 billion gallons or barrels of oil or whatever it was he's taken from them. He had all the oil execs at the White House the other day, and apparently all of them are not eager to go back into Venezuela. Each of these oil companies has gone in there a couple different times, and it's never gone well for them. They end up losing a lot of money and getting kicked out of the country. They want major security guarantees if they're going to put investment back into Venezuela, and what they want is troops on the ground. Trump is trying to say, well, like, no, we'll give you security guarantees, but it's not going to be boots on the ground. And they're basically like, without boots on the ground, we're not wasting billions of dollars to do this because we're just going to get kicked out again in a couple of years. So I don't blame them for that at all. But that's where we're at there. In addition to Venezuela, that's I'm going to say starting to not go so well. They're saying a lot about Cuba right now. Marco Rubio, especially. We've got two aircraft carrier strike groups surrounding Cuba right now.
Hold on, I just had a thought.
Okay.
So, I mean, the fact that these oil companies are like, we're not going to go in there because it's not safe for us. When in reality, it's like somebody shot a man, and then it's the oil companies will be the person like going and taking their watch and their wallet off the dead man.
So what they're afraid of, the number one thing they're afraid of is in the past they have invested a lot of money to get Venezuela's oil production up, and then like when the guy before the president we just kidnapped, who I can't remember his name, Hugo Chavez. Before Hugo Chavez came into office, they were all down there, and then when he came into power, he nationalized the oil and kicked all the oil companies out, and they were like, hey, we just spent billions of dollars to build this infrastructure. So they have been suing Venezuela in like international courts, and they've been Venezuela owes them like $8.9 billion, and they haven't paid it, and they keep trying to go to different courts to force Venezuela to pay it. But they put in a lot of money and they got kicked out of the country. So that's their number one fear. Their secondary fear is that if they have oil workers down there working, the guerrilla groups and militias are going to kill them. They worry about that, but they don't worry about that as much as losing billions of dollars. Like that's where their priority is. So
Priorities, man.
yeah, and there's nothing Trump can do about that the money part of that. Because like Trump's gonna be out of office in 3 years, and who knows who's gonna win, and whoever wins might tell Venezuela, hey, you're a free country, do whatever you want, and then at that point they're gonna kick the oil companies back out after they've reinvested money. I don't blame them for not wanting to go in there. So
If a Democrat wins in 2028, they are going to have to put so much crap back together.
it's gonna be at this point, I feel like things are too messed up in so many different places that I don't see how you put it all like. And the number one thing that concerns me is like the trust of our allies and partners around the world. Like, how do you, if say President Gavin Newsom wins, I don't know, to pick a Democrat, like how do you convince all of our allies, okay, we're good now. We got rid of the bad guys and we're good now. You can trust us. If I were them, I would be like, no, because in 4 years, who knows who's going to win and what you're going to do. And so America's too bipolar right now. The fact that every 4
We're
years.
not even a year into this.
We just hit, no, we haven't hit a year yet. We got 10 days left till a year.
Let's just say he messes the equal amount of stuff up every year for the next 3 years.
Which is very possible. Like it's very, very possible. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Impeachment. That's the only thing we have.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Talk to you later.
Later, buddy.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.